Welcome everybody to the Watchlist right here on the Latin Nerds Network, where we review all the shows that got released on streaming. It's a big week, so batten down the hatches, if you will. And of course, we always let you know what's coming out by the end of the show, so you know what's upcoming, and you can create your very own watch list for yourself. We're recording this a little early, but this is still being released on a Sunday. Of course, it will be Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. Me and my co-host will introduce shortly. Have a nice gift for all you mothers out there, and that is some great recommendations for you guys to watch when the family leaves you alone for the 10 minutes to actually leave you alone before all mayhem breaks loose. Hope you enjoy your Mother's Day. Hope you enjoy some of the shows we're going to recommend. That being said, let's introduce the co-host, of course, live from Houston, Big Bro himself. It's Senor Jaime, a.k.a. Chewy. What it is, brother?
Hey, brother, what's going on, man?
Happy Father's Day. Yeah, whatever. I don't even want to leave you out there. Need some love for the fathers out there.
Yeah, no joke, man.
It's a bit, excuse me, it's a big week. So the thing is, like, there was over about 10 shows that got released. I haven't seen them all. I know Chewy hasn't seen them all, but between the two of us, we pretty much have it all covered. I'm making that assumption here. I think that's a pretty accurate statement. So,
Yeah.
but those Mother's Day should be a happy event, but there is some sad news, a couple sad news. I'm going to say one for a little bit later. But the first one, of course, is our In Memoriam. Very sad news coming out of the world of Hollywood, and that is, of course, the cancellation of Saved by the Bell Season 2 on Peacock.
Wah, wah,
Two
wah.
seasons, and you're out of here. So it's actually a show we kind of liked for what it was. I think it's a lot of it's probably nostalgia driven, let's be honest. But whatever. I ain't gonna miss it, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm taking to leave it. They're leaving it. So, but yeah, so those are big fans. It is what it is, but that's okay. There's a lot of stuff that's being dropped, and we're gonna talk about two shows that actually ended that I want to go back and circle on real quick before we get to the new stuff. These are shows that we haven't watched. Pay attention. I think you may want to watch some of these. And the first one, I'm gonna take lead in this one. I'll give you the lead in a second one, Chewy. The
Sure.
first one is Outer Range. That is Amazon Prime show. It ended this weekend. 8-episode run, kind of a western with some sci-fi flair to it. Of course, Josh Brolin, Thanos himself. He, is a ranch owner who discovers there's a hole somewhere out in the ranch that is mysterious, and there's elements of, I guess, time travel or something that get kind of introduced. And in the meantime, his family, as his sons, are having issues because they have unfortunately killed some of the fellow rancher's son, and the police are involved, and yada yada yada. So it's a show which we saw 2 episodes when we first talked about this. I was liking it. I love the introduction of that element with whatever that circular sphere was on the ground, or whatever the case is. And I was about to come on today and shit on the show. I really was. Not that it wasn't good, but they teased. But for like, after the first 2 episodes, it was like 4 episodes of just pure tease, because they dangle that filet mignon in your face. Here it is, delicious, juicy, and they kept feeding me a burger. Give me the fucking filet. I see, right? You're showing me the filet. Give me the filet. That's like they did not want to even go back and revisit the stuff from that. The time travel stuff, or whatever was going out, the supernatural element that kept going back to what the regular story, which was okay. But I'm like, dude, don't bait and switch me here. Give me the good shit. However, the last 2 episodes made up for it. And this is why the endings of shows are so important, because they finally, thank God, went back to that element and introduced a couple of bombs in there involving Josh Brolin's character. We'll keep it spoiler free, and then I guess a reveal of another character we've seen throughout the show, and it was a pretty big bombs, and it's like, okay, this is what I'm talking about, right? I wish we would have done this a little earlier to give us more, but we'll see if season 2 is going to be greenlit or not. We'll see, but that really saved the show for me. It became more interesting, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully a season 2. Chewy, what do you think?
I haven't seen the last episode. I'm up to
Oh,
7. I was going to
okay.
watch it today, but then obviously we have to move the show up.
Right,
So,
right,
but
yeah.
yes, there was a big bomb
Yeah,
element in episode 7 that kind of, we're bringing us back full circle to the beginning, which is what we expected and wanted.
right.
And so I want more of that, right?
There's a
Just
much
to
bigger
so,
bomb. If you think that's a big
yes,
bomb, the second bomb is
there's a
even
big,
bigger.
it's even bigger, so even
Yeah,
good,
I
even
was
better,
like, yeah, I
even
was
better.
like, oh snap! I didn't even see it coming, and I probably should have, and I didn't. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome, really good. So, I recommend for me. It's like a good ending, saves it all. So Harder Range, if you haven't seen it yet, you have any interest, I definitely recommend it, especially if you like some sci-fi stuff in your shows. Just be patient with it. That's all I'm asking. The second one, I will take lead. I'll give you a lead here, Chewy. And that is, of course, a show that we loved, one of Netflix's best shows. And that is, of course, Ozark, a final season. Came out last week. We're going to talk about it after we have seen it. I assume you finished it. I know I did.
I did finish it,
Okay.
yes.
So yeah, Chewy. Well, actually, before we get to that, there's going to be some spoilers here. Not a whole lot. But I couldn't withhold this one spoiler because it's very sad. And again, in memoriam again. We're going to bring this back. Unfortunately, it's the demise of one Ruth Langhorne, one of our favorite characters on the show. The epitome of so close but yet so far. So rest in peace, Ruth. We loved you. You were almost there. We're gonna miss you. That being said, Chewy. So Ozark, when the chess pieces were moving around and for survival. So what'd you think? Did they stick the landing here?
I think so. And if someone was expecting, well, I mean, if you're expecting a happy ending, you weren't paying attention.
Oh, right.
If you're expecting everything to be wrapped up in a nice bow and they're off in Chicago, whatever, again, you weren't paying attention. They gave us a good ending, but that final scene, that last scene, was wow, and that's the end. I'm like, holy, I thought the killing of Ruth was bad enough, right?
Right.
But she had to go.
Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after killing the drug lord and then the head guy going down, I mean, yeah, she had to go. I mean, no one was gonna ever let that go.
Yeah,
right?
I guess, and then she did a lot of cool shit in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Just positioning herself to be, at the end, owning, taking control back of the casino and getting her record clean. She's building a compound and where she used to. All that was setting up nicely for her, but yeah, you had a feeling it was way too nice for her, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't gonna be a happy ending for her, unfortunately, right?
She went out like a champ, though. She went
Yes.
out like a champ, dude. Didn't
Yeah.
go out. She was rude to the very end, literally. So I like to see that, So,
But that last scene where that was the end, right? I mean, so yeah, obviously you have to assume, and everything was going to turn out okay for the family with respect to the deal with the FBI and everything else. But that scene where the cop comes back, right, and figures out, finally puts the final piece together about that cookie jar, what was in that cookie jar, and then the son essentially coming back into the fold and saying, what I do is one thing, you come out to my family, that's a different story.
Not on my watch.
Yeah, exactly. and cut and fade to black. I'm like, wow, powerful stuff.
Yeah, good ending. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I like it.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure how else you would want this to end, right? I mean, I don't want to see the white picket fence, everyone's happy.
No, not at all.
With their foundation, all the bullshit, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, and even she alluded to in the end, like, I guess that guy, detective, whatever, that PI's talking about, not going to get away with it. She's like, in this country, that's how it works, right? In this country, that's what it is, right? I mean, yeah, she just laid it out there. Yeah, no, you can't get away with it.
He's not lying.
No, that's what I'm saying. So that was fitting, and how it ended is like, there you go. It's circling back to the comments she just made to him. So yeah, it was a good ending, man. I liked it a lot. Not saying the greatest ending ever, but it was ending satisfactory. It wasn't a happy go look. I didn't want to see, like we said, this was never going to end happy, I guess, quote unquote, whatever that means for you. But yeah, it was well done, dude. It's a show that ended well, and I again highly recommend the show. I mean, who hasn't seen it, any of the seasons? The hype's legit. Third season was okay, but I think it bounced back this last season in a big way. So it's good for them, man. There's two, this sucks for Netflix, sucks for us, but there's there's other shows that are coming out. So, but yeah, they did a good job with the end there. So, but that being said, let's talk about the new stuff, and we'll start with the movies first. And one movie did drop. I know Chewy didn't see this one. I almost forgot. Sorry, I greeted it this morning. I was up early. Now it's the Takedown.
Sucker.
French film with Omar Sy. Of course, yeah. If you haven't seen it, Lupin. Cool show. And the same director of Lupin also bringing this over. It's like a 90s style, buddy cop kind of thing where, it's some comedy and action, all that. And
48 Hours?
Calm down. Don't ever say these two movies in the same sentence.
I'm not even kidding you. I have no idea.
But I didn't finish it. I was like, I couldn't do it. I was 45 minutes in. Like, there's other shows to watch. I know today was gonna be a short day, so I don't have a lot of opportunity to watch some. Get extra episodes of the seasons. So I'm like, it just wasn't interesting, man. It just didn't work. It wasn't that funny, and I like Omar Sy a lot, and he's good in it. But if an action comedy is not funny, half of it's done already, and the action wasn't that good. So that's 100% of it. So yeah, yeah. Next, move on.
Out.
Don't bother. Yeah, this is part of that that what 30% of the shit that Netflix gives us was in terms of the movies and all that. So, but yeah, so don't do it. Two documentaries. First one, Meltdown, 3 Mile Island, about the nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania, 3 Mile Island, which I guess is a radiation leak, and everybody's panicking in a small town up there, et cetera, et cetera. So it chronicles that. 4 episodes. Chu, what'd you think about this one?
I love this one, man. This
Wow.
was the
Okay.
kind of documentary that where it's not a subject that I'm well aware of, right? I kind of know about it, right? It happened in 1979, the fallout 3 or 4 years after that.
Right.
So we were youngins, right? But here's an event that had a great impact on the nuclear industry and the U.S. as a whole. But they really peel back the layers of what the hell was really going on, and that's what I want to see. I want to be informed, but I want to be interesting, and not too long. I've said 4 episodes, and it gets to the point and it goes quickly, right? With the whistleblower, with the events, and what happened and transpired, and how close it was to being a complete catastrophe. I mean, just by literally sheer dumb luck.
Sure.
and that's accidents. Accidents are usually not. It's one thing that happens and that creates this mess. No, because it's always a series of events and decisions and things that happen that just basically piggyback off each other that lead to at the accident. So it's not just one valve goes open, that's what happened. No, there's a lot of things tied into it. But the cover up and everything happened afterwards. That's all. I guess it's very interesting. The main character, Wayne Whistleblower of the story, I feel bad for the guy. Really, it does because someone always gets screwed, and it's never the people you think should. Right? It's always the guy who comes clean with what happened. But that's the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't as highness as you were. I thought this a little bit dry for me. I don't know why. I just could not get into it, and I like the subject. Don't get me wrong, and it's obviously a big event. Maybe because it just feels dated. I don't know, the presentation just wasn't quite there. I still recommend it because it is good subject matter for the most part. But yeah, I just didn't do it for me. I don't know why. I just it could have been the mood. I don't know. I was waiting in line to see Doctor Strange, so maybe my mind was occupied. So,
gee whiz, that's really for real.
but I don't know. I just wasn't with it. It just wasn't with it. I'm not saying I'm not recommending it, but yeah, it is what it is. But the next documentary I found much more entertaining, and that's The Big Con on Apple Plus. This one
have not started that one yet. So
oh man, this was one that well, it's actually to give you an idea. So this one chronicles, I guess his name is Eric Kahn, I think. Forget, was an attorney in Kentucky who found a way to, defraud the Social Security Administration for about $550 million, and how he kind of took advantage of people who needed money. So he found a way to get their Social Security benefits within 30 days, and they're explaining normally it takes 18 months. And there was a judge who's in his, and I was saying his pocket judge involved, other people involved. They're just starting to really crack open what's going on, and it goes a lot deeper than I thought it was going to go to. And this guy was a character. This Kong guy. He's like a Kentuckian version of Better Call Saul, Saul Goodman. That's exactly who he is. Very entertaining the way it's told. The same people who gave you who brought McMillions, the McDonald's ones, which is very well done. This one is really engaging, entertaining. A lot of fast pace, a lot of humor to use and all that. So this one I really enjoyed far more than a Meltdown. If you got room for one documentary lives, I recommend this one. True, you're gonna like this one. It's very good. It's an interesting story. Like I said, I just thought, okay, all right, this could be whatever. Social Security doesn't sound exciting, right? Some guy defraud, whatever, but it's really interesting and this guy's a character. I'm watching. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is Saul Goodman. I really liked it. High recommend for me. Again, Apple Plus, hitting out of the park as of late. Roar notwithstanding, everything else been doing pretty well. So this is a recommend for me. So Troy, you're gonna like this one when you check this one out.
Shining Girls on that episode. Wow.
Shining Girls.
That one gets better every week after it gets better and better, man.
Man, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I did actually mean to bring that up. Like, if you guys aren't in Shining Girls, Apple Plus, watch it. It's so good. Murder mystery with a sci-fi element, which episode 4 really broke open, right? This last episode, and I was like, man, shit is good. this is right on the verge of it. Depends how it ends, but right now it's on the must watch list. So if you guys have Apple Plus, Shining Girls, you guys have to see it. It's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
HBO Max, they dropped a show based on a true story. This called The Staircase. 3 episodes dropped. This was there's a documentary on Netflix about this story where there's
That's right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess an author aspiring politician, whatever, whose wife was found, or she fell, quote unquote, down the steps, died, blood everywhere, and then the suspicions turned towards the husband, as they normally do, and a lot of stuff gets uncovered throughout the trial process and all that. So the movie's obviously based off that. Great cast number one. We got them. This one here, Colin Firth and Tony Collette, both who are great. They're great in this. You know, we got Sophie Turner's in here.
That's right.
Yeah. Paul Schwarzenegger, the son of the legendary '80s action star Arnold Schwarzenegger. A lot of people you recognize faces. True, what do you think about this one?
I mean, 3 episodes in, and like I said, I was a big fan of the documentary. I enjoyed it, right? I think it was one documentary like that was on Netflix. And so this is more of a dramatization. So it's not as dry. Obviously, there's a lot of flashbacks, flash forwards, a lot of events, a lot of people. How accurate, take it with a grain of salt because it's dramatization, right? So the conversations, especially within his legal team and the motivations on the prosecution, even though some of that was laid out in the documentary, right? On both sides. But yeah, obviously, some of these things you got to take with a grain of salt. You don't know how accurate, physically or realistically accurate they are, even though there's documentary on a lot of this stuff. But I'm enjoying it, right? I mean, I know enough about it, and now to kind of see it in this fashion has been so far very entertaining. I did like, I think in episode 2, where they gave us from the defense side, right? Because the prosecution is never going to admit this or cop out, whatever.
Sure.
When they fix it on one guy, unless the Lord Jesus Christ comes out and says no, you're not going to get them off that opinion, regardless. So sometimes there's certain you would think the search for truth is more important than a prosecution's stats. You would think, but we don't live in that world, and now people are not that way. And so, when they are able to give us a recreation of what could have happened and her fall, right, based on evidence,
from the forensic side of things.
Yeah, from a clean forensic side of events, not just assuming what had to be. And this gets to this documentary. From day one, it was no, he did it. He had to do it. There's no other way. And that's like, wait a minute, is that what the evidence tells you, or that's because you just come into a conclusion without being, it's sunny outside, but what about tomorrow? It's gonna be sunny again. We're like, wait, that's not how it works, Look at the evidence, look at what's going on, come up with a theory, and I think that, and they even showed us that they did everything that they physically potentially do to make their theory fit, right? The facts, rather than let the facts dictate what the theory is, right? Whether you believe it or not, whatever. But it's now we're getting a fuller picture, not just from the documentary side, but of everything that Peter presents, and you come to your own conclusion of what he did or didn't do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think for those, if you're not familiar with the documentary, you'll probably enjoy this more because a lot of the stuff that gets unveiled throughout the process is like, whoa. Particularly, and I won't say because I've seen it, but situation in Germany, right? Which in the documentary was like, oh boy, really? That happened in Germany? So when those elements can get introduced, it hits more if you're not familiar with it. So I think if you haven't seen the documentary, you probably enjoy the show even more. I still like it. I know what's going on, right? We've seen it. Really good, really well done. So this is a high recommend for me. All your mothers out there, it's a good show for you to watch with the daddies and all that. So check that one out. HBO is 3 now, and then they release one every Thursday. The next one, Clark, on Netflix. This was a story about
Clark
Olofsson, the infamous bank robber criminal, I guess back in the 70s, who,
50s, 60s, 70s.
50s, 70s, yeah, where he puts in himself, he wants to be the best of the worst, right? That's the line that they use in the show. Bill Skarsgård plays Olofsson, of course, a Swedish show. You can't watch it dubbed. I actually prefer the non-dubbed version better. Because the guy that used to portray Clark and the voice is not good. So I watch it in the Swedish version, just better. But I'll read the subtitles, it's fine. But this one's interesting because this is one where, it's interesting where one of the, I guess, the guy who robbed the bank got Olson out of jail, and as a condition to let go of the hostages. So that's how one of the times he broke out. One of the times he broke out of jail, and then that's when the whole Stockholm syndrome developed from that. I guess that's what they say. Interesting. So interesting character. And this guy was like, he was, people loved him, right? He had that personality, he used the media to his advantage and all that. So this is kind of, and this guy in this era would thrive with social media and all that, that's for sure. But yeah, so this was, I'm enjoying it. It's told much more interesting than I thought it was going to be. It's bizarre.
It's odd.
It's odd, right? The choices they make in a good way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just the way they tell this story, right? And I guess the scenes that they shoot, we have one at a club, he's dancing, there's, raunchy sex going on, alcohol, drugs, I mean, weird characters from Beirut to Paris, I mean, and then we're in between. So this guy's life, how much of this is true is just bananas, man. Absolutely bananas.
Yeah, and it's funny because it says, it's based off truth and lies. So
yeah. So what's true and what's lies? Who knows?
Who knows, right? But this guy's a character. I mean, I get it. Right? I can understand why, people kind of just revere him in a certain way. It's like a modern day Jesse James, anyway, at least for the times. But yeah, it's interesting narrative that they choose, and it makes it very entertaining, right? I figure it's gonna be a straightforward kind of show. Okay, cool, but it's not in a good way. I'm surprised how much I'm liking this show. I think it's a limited series, 6 episodes, but I looked at some of the stuff. A lot of the big ticket items are indeed factual in terms of his life, things that he did and all that, and breaking out of prison more than once and all that. So I think I got a couple left, so I'm curious to see how it ends or how it ended. But yeah, good show, man. This is a good recommend for me. Surprise. Again, I still recommend dubbing it because, again, the main guy, the English dub voice is not good. I'm like, this is annoying, so I had to switch it off. Don't let that deter you. But it's a good show. I'm really enjoying that one a lot. So one that I haven't got a chance to see yet, and that's Bosch Legacy.
I thought you were going to talk about Sound of Magic.
Eventually, but Bosch Legacy first. So I didn't get the chance to see it. This is on IMDb, of course, based off Bosch on Amazon Prime, a 7-season show, which we both liked. It's a good show. And when it's a cancellation, a season ending, not a season ending, when this happens, because I don't know. I hear it's a continuation of the other. It could have just called it season 8. So I don't understand that at all. It's odd.
Season 8 of Bosch.
Right.
All the characters are there. I mean, the only difference is he's a private eye now. He's not a cop.
Right.
But all the characters are there, and so this is a continuation. Now, I will say what this is different from the other season, where the other seasons there was a crime focus, one particular crime that they're investigating. Right now, it's still in the background. He had his other things he was kind of doing, especially because his mom was murdered, and so he was trying to track down. So that was kind of secondary. But it was always focused on one crime that happened and the investigation to the conclusion. And I think here, this is kind of picking up where the last season ended, but it's now branching into many other directions, right? So it's not just one single. Now, I've only seen one episode, but they've introduced several avenues of things that he's pursuing, right? One case, he's doing his thing. We got his daughter, who's now trying to be a police, and obviously the lawyer, Honey, whatever, I can't remember her name. And obviously she did with her own case. So there's a lot of overlapping things going on. The only thing that I don't like about the show is I love that intro music from Bosch. It's not the same one. And I'm like, oh man, come on.
Fair enough.
So it's different from disappointing. But aside from that, if you're a fan of Bosch, and is a fan of Bosch, like I said, this is call it season 8.
If you haven't seen Bosch, can you pick up and watch this out of curiosity? Do you think so or no?
Yes, you can. Okay. Because if you have, so okay, he was a cop. He says he was a cop before, right?
Sure.
But does it, do you need that, other cases he did? Why is it private eye? No.
Okay.
That's
interesting.
Whatever,
Okay, in that case, if you haven't seen Bosch at all, give this one a shot. If you enjoy it, go back to again. Bosch is a really good show. It's a consistent show on Amazon for 7 years. I think it's one of his longest shows. Maybe the longest show Amazon's ever had. Right? Am I wrong?
Yes, that is correct. 7 years.
So yeah, and it was that long for a reason. It's really good. So I recommend, no doubt about it. Another one, Chewy. I said I wasn't gonna watch it because I wasn't a fan of the first one. I'm sure you did, and that's The Wilds. Speaking of Amazon Prime. Did you get into that one yet or not yet?
Yeah, I started
Okay.
picked it up the first episode last night, and I'm gonna watch another one tonight. But like I said, I was a fan of the first season. A little mixture of Lord of the Flies, but whereas that was more of a natural event, this is a man-made experiment, right? And there's a person kind of behind the scenes. And with this season, they're still continuing the story of these girls. Now, how they were brought together is still unknown. Why they were brought together in this experiment, or they convinced their parents to let them do this, beyond me. But now there's a second group kind of where this was happening kind of semi simultaneously, and so you have all the events are going through flashback. You get it through flashback and through interviews and conversations, right? So I'm trying to bring it to the present. But a very interesting show, interesting premise, and I've enjoyed it.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. So season two, right? Yeah, season two. How many? Three episodes
Correct.
so far? It's Amazon, so I assume they released
No,
two
they
or three.
dropped all the episodes.
Oh, really?
This
Oh,
one is, yeah, they dropped the whole thing so you can binge it.
you don't see that very often. All right. The next one, circling back to the show you mentioned earlier, and that's The Sound of Magic on Netflix, a Korean drama, K drama as it's
Mhm.
known these days, about
I, I,
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Yeah, go give your
No,
synopsis. I'll
yeah,
give you
this was
my.
a kind of a the drama about a young girl who's down on her luck, right? Her mom, I assume, passed away. They don't really say, but that's what appears to be. Her father ran out because he owes a bunch of money, and so she's living by herself. She's in high school, taking care of her little sister, and the loan sharks are coming after him. So, i.e., coming after her. She's kind of alone at school, and then one day she walks into this abandoned amusement park that's been closed down, and there's a magician there apparently who does real magic and kind of befriends her and has been helping around in situations. So it's a lot of fantastical elements. There's musical elements as well. It's like one or two songs per episode and all that. So something interesting and different. Chewy, did you see this one? Out of curiosity?
I did, and I know what the sound of magic is. Click.
Next.
I gave one episode. I tried,
Right.
and no, I that was I was like, what? I got too much. Let me go back and watch another episode of Clark.
No,
All
no,
right.
I get it. Yeah, it's. I didn't dislike it, and I'm like my stepdaughter kept she jumped in. I was watching the show, so she wanted to see it. So fine, I gave it 2 episodes. It's just I like to see different things. I've been talking about it for a while. Give me something different. Give me something unique. This definitely does that,
Mhm.
but just doesn't do it well. It's just overly dramatic, and a lot of the K dramas like that. It relies more on the subject matter. I like with Squid Game or the zombie
Yeah.
one, the high school, which is great.
Squid
Um,
Game, Kingdom, great.
Kingdom, great. Yeah, exactly.
This one, and
This
what
one,
was
yeah,
that other time travel one that was just complete
yeah.
garbage?
This it doesn't work.
Sisyphus, Sisyphus, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
You were forced to watch that. Ugh.
Unfortunately, it is what it is. Whatever. With that being said, yeah, this one where I wasn't a fan. It looked nice. It was a nice try, and I give him credit for that. But it just didn't work for me at all.
Yeah,
So
didn't work for me either. So.
if you enter K dramas like really hardcore into it, you probably will enjoy the show as long as you don't mind. There's again a couple of musical numbers here and there, but other than that, I don't recommend it at all. The next one here, I don't think you probably saw this one. I was very curious about this one. That's the Pentaverate. I think that's the correct pronunciation. I might have said it wrong last week. But yeah,
I don't know, whatever.
Mike Myers returns in all his glory from the heyday of his '90s days of Wayne's World and of course this, Austin
Wayne's
Powers,
World, Wayne's
etc.
World.
And this one area, Mike
Is
Myers.
this Space Force or is this The Office?
I'll say it's just better than Space Force.
I'm saying a whole lot, dude.
I didn't say it. Then you asked me a question. I'm answering.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's
It's
true.
better. You asked you. It's better. It is. I actually laughed in this. In Space Force, there was no laugh. There's a pin drop in the room. It's just not a good show. This is not great either. Don't get me wrong. And and I love Mike Myers, right? And I was watching the show. I come to a couple of realizations because here, he plays as Canadian older guy reporter, right, in Canada, where according to one of the shirts someone's wearing, it's enjoying the American dream without any of the violence. That's a pretty funny shirt. I gotta give credit due. And that's like there's moments like that throughout the show. That's funny, right?
And healthcare.
Yeah, it's funny. So he's a reporter, and I guess he's going to get fired from his job, so he needs to get a big scoop, right? So he uncovers this possibility of this Illuminati type organization, secret organization. In this case, is called the Pentaverate. Five members for the last 300 years, and they keep getting new members once somebody passes away. And tries to uncover that mystery. And then within the Pentaverate, there's another mystery going on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mike Myers, I mean, listen, he was great in a day, and I think because we were in an age where we were adolescent when he's coming up big, right? And that's what the humor is geared for, right? This humor, even now 30 years later, he hasn't changed. It's still adolescent humor, a lot of body humor, absurdity, but at times there's some genius stuff in there. At times, and those are times like, man, that shit is funny. But the first episode, I was like, man, I was totally wrong with this show. I'm all in. But the second episode, I kept saying, this is why the Netflix stock dropped. And you're looking for a reason for it, the subscriber show. This is the third episode got better, but still, ultimately, yeah, it's just the humor gets old, man. It's just, how many fart jokes can you make and all that? It's just, I want a little bit more. There's a cool scene where there's a scene now with a lot of they're playing pool, and there's a lot of cuss words here and there. And the back out and saying, man, that was pretty bad even for Netflix. I wonder what it sounds like without the cuss words. So they show an executive from Netflix. They introduce him with the Netflix thing. Dun-dun. He's like, here, folks, and rewinds the scene. He plays it without all the cuss words, and it's even dirtier. It's actually kind of funny. It's very creative. Stuff like that worked. It's like, oh, that's funny. Jeremy Irons does the intro to it, and he's telling you, don't skip it.
Nice.
He even intros Stranger Things, saying, I got you. That's why you don't skip the intro. Stuff like that. Rob Lowe's in it. He has a funny scene. Keegan Keel is in as well. Yeah. It's got funny moments. So much potential, but ultimately just, yeah. If you're a huge Mike Myers fan and you still enjoy that kind of humor, that humor was in his time, right, for his day. It's a lot of these comedians, they come and go because they have a shtick and it eventually wears thin. If you're still into that, give it a shot, but buyer beware. Better than Space Force, for whatever that's worth to you. Whatever. The last show, I haven't seen the show, so obviously I'll let Chewy talk about, and that's Tehran. Am I saying about Tehran on Apple Plus? Again, Apple Plus.
Tehran, yes.
Tehran was and I heard it's a good show. Apple Plus, again, has been giving such good TV the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. So season 2, go ahead, Chewy. Well,
this is season 2.
Yeah.
So this is I don't know if this is international. I mean, it's obviously the basis. It's an international spy thriller, right? Mm-hmm. It's dealing with Mossad and Israelis, and obviously in Iran. Obviously, Tehran, the capital city of Iran, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically, they've infiltrated, they're trying to put in a mole or a spy, and obviously they're assigned a particular task for what they're trying to do, right? And it's all one comprehensive story. So this kind of picks up in season 2, because she was essentially left in Tehran because the operation was a failure, right? Didn't go through. But now they've introduced a new character, Glenn Close. Right, and as heading up this operation now, and so it's a mixture of English, Israeli, and whatever speaking around.
Farsi? I don't know.
Is it Farsi?
I think it's Farsi, but
is it Farsi?
I believe so. Yeah. I might be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's obviously there's subtitles, because I don't know if people that know all 3 languages well, but there's enough English, right? And then also read subtitles for some of the other conversations. So like I said, very interesting show, very, very thriller, spy thriller, contemporary, all right? So it's not like a historical in any aspect. There's a lot of things going on that just kind of look at what goes on in the Middle East and kind of gives you an idea of what's going on out there. And so very entertaining. And so, yeah, if you have time to watch it, it's Apple Plus. And so, they do A+ productions. They'll skimp on the quality of shows.
Always.
Yeah. So
is this was Slow Horses better than this, out of curiosity?
I enjoy Slow Horses more.
Okay.
Because there's more because Gary Oldman comes out very comedic.
Because he's awesome.
Right? Yeah. That's his show. Yeah.
That's simple. Yeah. It's just, you can say what you want, throw all the adjectives. He's awesome. Plain and simple. But yes.
And so there's because the characters in Slow Horses are actually they're losers, right? They're kind of funny. Right? I don't know how they end up being agents to begin with, right?
Well, the one guy is good, the first guy, but whatever, the other way.
Yeah, well, he's good, but
potential.
They're at a gas station to get some food, and they're doing a car chase, and you ask, can you get something to eat real fast before they go?
Yeah.
And they're my probably say they're running the gas and they're in a gas station. Okay, so like so it's got that it's yes serious, but it's got that humor that funny elements, right? That you kind of look and laugh internally, right? It's not outside. This is dead serious the whole way through. There's no humor. This is completely 100% drama thriller, spy thriller from top to bottom. So just laying out the expectations for this type of show.
Oh yeah, but again, Apple Plus, and like I said, we mentioned Slow Horse is a show we're recommending, and Shining Girls, of course. It's
oh yeah, absolutely,
so good. You remind me, you mentioned car chase. Real quick, I forgot to mention this when watching the Takedown. This is when I was out of the movie for real. There was a car chase scene, right? I mean, who doesn't like a good car chase scene?
Okay.
The thing is, the car chase in go-karts. We're then a go-kart track. Okay, that's not a very exciting kind of car chase. Fair enough. They jump and the guy's running away from them, jumps in the go-kart, and he's doing the track. So where's he gonna go? He's on the track. He ain't going nowhere. Another guy jumps in the go-kart, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the next scene, they're in a supermarket. How the fuck do you get from the go-kart track inside a Walmart? All right, I'm out. But I forgot to mention earlier. I mean, it's ridiculous. But that being said, so big week this week. A lot of cool stuff to recommend. So again, if you love your mother, tell her to go watch Ozark. Tell her to watch Outer Range, The Staircase, The Big Con. If you hate your mom, she pissed you off, you're a teenager, I get it. Have her watch The Pentaverate. Talk about good payback. It is what it is. For next week, not as big, but we got some interesting stuff all around the board. So get ready here. We have starting on the 10th, and that is on Netflix, Working Moms. I don't watch the show. I think it's season 5 or 6, maybe. No,
7. It's
okay.
been going on for a long time.
Okay.
So there's lots to say. I've lost track, but it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Way better than Space Force. I'll tell you that right now. It's actually funny.
Again,
better than Pentaverate.
The benchmark is pretty low. But speaking of moms, right? This is a show for you, I would assume. This
there
is
you go.
up your alley.
It's all about moms.
Exactly.
It's all about moms.
You want to tell your husband, your kids, leave me alone. Leave me alone in the tent.
It's all about moms, but man, it is so raunchy. It's ridiculous.
Maybe I take it back, but not for everyone's moms. But that being said, whatever. Disney Plus on the 11th. It's a new reality show. Interesting. Called The Quest.
Yes.
These drop these kids in this, reality contest show, a la Amazing Racing, same producers, but it's along those lines. But I guess in a fantasy world, I guess.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Correct, yes.
I don't know about this, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if I'll watch it. Maybe I will.
I'll
Maybe
watch.
I will.
I mean, whatever. Yeah.
I might give it a shot. It's a light week, so I'll give it a shot. On the 12th, we have 42 días en oscuridad. That's 42 days of darkness, translated for you guys. New show, it's Spanish show. Well, I think it takes place in Chile, I think. New thriller, looks interesting. I guess a woman whose sister went missing, and she tries to uncover where she is, and a lot of stuff more that meets the eye kind of deal she runs into. That looks pretty interesting for a good thriller. Netflix usually does good with those. The next one on HBO Max, the 12th, Hacks, season 2.
Season 2,
right, is one. I was a fan of season 1. I like season 1 a lot. I critically it was well received. I think Emmys and all that. Am I wrong?
Right.
Yeah, about there's a comedian, a writer who couldn't get a job. She's pissed everyone off, and I think she can find was to write comedy for a old time comedian. She's trying to find a girl again.
Over the hill. Well, I mean, she's got a bigger show, right? For
whatever
she does,
but let's face, she's not.
But she's obviously she's definitely the back end of her career,
right?
And so she's looking to rejuvenate. Whatever, I can't even say that word.
Rejuvenate, yes.
Thank you. Rejuvenate her career by bringing in a fresh writer, right, to give her some new material, some new stuff, and so that's where the hijinks ensue.
Yeah, it's not like a super funny show, but it's a good show and it's a well-written show. I enjoyed it. Season 2, it is one I recommend if you haven't seen season 1, catch up. So it's actually a pretty good show. On the 13th, Apple Plus. I'm sold.
Again?
Why not? That's the Essex Serpent, based off a novel, I believe, Claire Danes and Tom Hiddleston, Loki himself.
Yes, Loki.
Yeah, this is a period piece. I guess a woman got divorced and moves to a small town. And I think it's more of a love story, but there is something about some kind of serpent-esque, Loch Ness-esque monster, right, in the river, whatever, near the town, something like that. So I haven't seen the full trailer, but it's Apple Plus. I don't have to see a trailer because it's Apple Plus. I'm going to watch it. And then on the 13th, Netflix, that's The Lincoln Lawyer. course, based off I think it's not John Grisham book. No,
No,
no, it's
well, I
not.
don't know if it's John Grisham book, but
I don't know, but it's a
it
book.
started the movie.
There's a movie
Yeah,
with
with Matthew
Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey.
Yeah,
Yes.
back there's I guess a lawyer who works out of his Lincoln town car, apparently, and that's what he does.
Literally.
Right. So he's
Hey man, save on rent.
hey,
Rent
listen, you
space.
do what you gotta do. Not everybody saw Goodman, or John Conn apparently. So,
Ah.
but I remember seeing the movie, to be honest with you, but it looks interesting. So
I did.
yeah,
It was a good movie. I mean, he had a good performance in it.
yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I don't remember, but it was fine. But this is one I think lends itself better for being a show than a movie at the end of the day.
Probably, yeah.
So looking forward to that. Again, that's on the 13th.
I think the lawyer. I could be wrong, but I think the lawyer was the drug dealer in Ozark. Or is it someone similar? I looked at it like, wait, is that guy from Ozark? I think it's him. We want to look it up and see.
I am not sure. I'm looking at the cast real quick since I'm here.
The nephew, obviously, the one that was killed, that Ruth killed.
No, it doesn't look like him. Nev
No?
Campbell's
Okay.
in it. I guess somewhat of a notable name anyway. Not a couple people that here and there, but yeah. So that was interesting.
Okay.
So yeah, Netflix next week. So not a lot of stuff. That's good. I need a break. Gives me time to catch up some of these shows. I push some shows back to watch some of the shows that came out
this week, tomorrow night, tonight, whenever this drops, we get the last episode of Winning Time.
Winning Time, yes, we'll probably talk about that. That one, that show's in there too. So yeah, and listen, the shows like Barry's still out there, really good show. And of course, I'll say it once, say it again, well, 3 times really. Shining Girls, yeah, the Apple Plus, yeah, watch it. So there it is. So that's what we got for this week. A lot of stuff in there to enjoy. Again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Subscribe below, fathers. Don't get stingy. Subscribe as well. Check us out. We want good recommendations here every week here on Latin Nerds Network. Sunday, 12 o'clock. I'll probably drop this one a little early tomorrow since they recorded here on the day before on a Saturday. Chewy, as always, a pleasure. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.